So I want to get rid of this pipework. I don't want any boxing, so I'm going to try and put it under the floor. They come up from out of the kitchen down beside that soil stack. So I'm going to remove all of this boxing. I'm going to put them under the floor, running along here. We'll tee up for the shower, under the floor, up into the stud-work and out of the wall for the hot and cold feed for the basin. And then we shall come up inside this stud-work and then back into the airing cupboard and make the reconnection inside the airing cupboard. Just took these pieces of plasterboard out with my multi-saw. Plan is now I can drill down in there, get under the floor for the pipes. Unfortunately, that's when my shower feed needs to come up. I'm not going to get my drill in there, so I'm going to have to come up with some other clever idea. Okay, so my original plan was to go through this joist and up here into the stud work and through the wall and reconnect in the airing cupboard. But I didn't think ahead enough, and just no way I'm going to be able to get through that joist and up into this stud work. I can't get under this floor space. I can't lift any floorboards up on the other side because this hot water cylinder is sitting on top of the floorboards. Plan B is I'm going to come up, which I'm already coming up in here anyway, for the basin feeds. And then I'm going to go in through this wall. And you can see there's a void back there. And then I'm going to go back into the airing cupboard behind there, and then I'll make the connections later inside the airing cupboard. The easiest way for me to try and get a pipe through there is going to be to solder some copper with a right angle, try and feed it through these holes, and hopefully be able to turn it enough to get it to poke through into the airing cupboards. Before you start your tiling, it's always a good idea to prime seal your walls first. I'm going to use a little drop of water and I'm going to dilute some acrylic primer. A lot of people argue that you can use PVA. I'm not opposed to using PVA. The argument against it is PVA is water soluble, so if water gets behind your tiles, it will dissolve the PVA and your tiles will fall off the wall. But the counter argument is, if water's getting behind your tiles, it's already too late. The wall's knackered. Peel it off and start again. And I can see both sides of the argument. Now, I usually opt for acrylic primer, but realistically, if all I've got in the van at the time is PVA, I don't have any qualms about using PVA. I'll give it a quick mix. When mixing your tile adhesive, you want to put your water in first. If you try and put your powder in first, the powder will just get stuck to the edges and you'll have a hell of a time trying to mix it up. So put your water in first. And then slowly add your adhesive. Probably be a good idea to have a mask. Mix it to about this consistency and then leave it for 5 minutes and come back to it, because you'll probably find it stiffens up a bit after 5 minutes. Why do I use powder-based adhesives and not ready-mixed? The truth is, when I first started out, I used to use ready-mixed thinking it was easier, but it's not. If you've got a perfectly flat wall to tile on and you're just doing splashbacks like behind a basin or above your kitchen countertop, then ready-mix, fine, it has a purpose. But anytime you've got uneven walls or you're doing quite a bit of meterage, you're better off with a powder-based one. There's a few reasons for that, but one, it has an aggregate in it, so like a sand, which helps it hold its shape. So if you've got an uneven wall, it allows you to put extra adhesive behind the tile and it will hold and set. So it allows you to pack out the wall to try and flatten it as you tile. You can't do that with a ready, I mean, you can have a go with a ready mix, but the problem with ready mix is it air dries and it will dry from the outside first. So the problems with it being air dry, and one is once you've tiled it, you then got to leave it 48 hours before you can even grout. If you put it on too thick behind the tile, it could take weeks to set. So if you try and pack an uneven wall out with ready mix, 2 weeks later it's probably still not going to be set behind there. And quite frankly, the powder based ones are just easier to work with. If you get a standard set adhesive, you can mix up a bucket of that and it'll last you 6 hours until you have to mix up a new bucket. So it's not like you're constantly having to clean tools and mix up new gear. It's just a far superior product. So I'd definitely recommend going with the powder based. Okay, so we're just about to start grouting. So in doing the grouting, you're going to want 2 tubs. You're going to want one with water in it for washing down, and another one for mixing your grouting. To mix your grout, when you get some water in there first, I like to go for about 1/8 of a bucket, and then we'll slowly add the grout until we get the desired consistency. So you want it thick enough that it will hold its shape once it's in the tiles. But if you have it too thick, you're going to make really hard work for yourself. This is about the consistency I always aim for. Just slowly drips off the end of your float.